So One Piece is getting an anime remake by Wit Studios. At first I thought it was a little weird. It was announced while Toei version is still putting out episodes, but as time went by since that first announcement, I began to accept it and like the fact it's coming out sooner than later. Of course there's no official release date yet, but I expect it to come out soon. Toei Animation has done the good, the mediocre, and bad for the series. Let's talk about East Blue since that's the focus for the remake anyway. One of, if not the biggest problem One Piece fans or even non-fans have is the animation style being unpleasant to the eyes. Like the characters will look poorly animated while they're in focus and not appealing to the eyes, like I said. But that's expected from an early 2000s anime, which did improve as time went on. Now the fight's been pretty meh. So Zoro fights against Buggy, Kabaji, Nine Brothers, Kuro, and Mihawk. Luffy's fights against Buggy, Kuro, Creek, and Arlong. And Sanji's fights against Ging and Kurobu. I expect them to be elevated similar to the episode of East Blue where we see updated animation on those big fights of that saga. But to me, that wasn't good enough. I need the Zoro vs Mihawk fight to be so fluid and so much better animated. I don't need to see Zoro competing with Mihawk. I just need to see Mihawk's fluidity as he's using his sword against Zoro. Stuff like that. I want to see a little bit more of Hachi and Zoro before Zoro does his Tatsumaki on him. I would love that. And when it comes to Luffy's fights, they're always going to be goofy and whatnot. I just need it to be animated better, which I expect them to be. But when it comes to a lot of these fights, especially the ones I mentioned, I expect them to be elevated regardless. Now the pacing, looking back, it was bad. Even when they adapted 2 chapters from majority of East Blue, the pacing still wasn't good. Long drawn out scenes, stuff barely progressing for several episodes. Like when we get a shot of 2 characters staring at each other for longer and then it cuts to intermission or the end of the episode. Funny enough, despite how much better the animation and fights are in the current One Piece, it still at times does this issue with the pacing. And I believe the remake will save us from this annoying sequence that Toei continues to do as they only adapt like either one chapter or like 80% of a chapter, which adds to the slow pacing from earlier, still being around despite how fire the content can still be. The cover stories didn't start till chapter 35, which was during the Super Village arc, and in episode 46, which was right before the Logtown arc in the anime. Unlike in the manga, the anime didn't start covering the first cover story that started in chapter 35 till there was a possible breakpoint like post Arlong Park to do it. In that episode they covered chapter 35 to chapter 54 of Buggy's cover story. As I mentioned, the pacing will be better. Now they don't gotta animate every cover story, stuff like Wappo's cover story or Django's. Like, nah, I don't need that. But I could see them adding the Buggy's cover story right before Logtown as well in like one episode. But the cover story I'm intrigued to see how it goes is the Ace Hunt for Blackbeard. Obviously that takes place like after East Blue Saga, but that would be a nicely incorporated during break moments in the story, like post Alabasta or even when the stories are on Sky Island. Have an episode on here and there with Ace's search for Blackbeard. That'd be nice. I can't forget about this. The iconic One Piece voice actors, to me, are unlikely to voice them again. These guys are getting old. Well, they are old. And some of them sound like it with all due respect. Not to mention, as a remake, I think it'll make sense for new voice actors so audiences can experience a new feeling, a new feel. Similar to Hunter x Hunter, having different voice actors from the 99 version for the 2011 version. Also, I expect, different soundtracks, different OSTs and stuff like that. Hopefully more variety than we currently have with Toei. I think this remake will be good for the people that can't get into One Piece because of the length, or those that have fallen off the anime due to the pacing and certain animation choices, and even those that still watch it to this day. In today's anime climate, faster paced anime attracts younger audience quicker, like Demon Slayer for example, and I'm cool with this remake. I can't wait for more news to come out. And I wonder, would this remake technically be a new gen anime? Who knows, but looking forward to it. Enjoy the week, and peace everyone.